So before we start, I just want to apologize for not uploading this video a lot sooner than it's supposed to be. I was feeling under the weather for the last few days, and I just only recovered my some of my voice in like just yesterday. So I apologize, but here we are, and I'm feel like I'm ready to do this recording and tell you guys what happened and also my opinion on the race in Australia. So, without further ado, let's get into it. So, we're gonna start off with the qualifying session. Now, of course, there was a big moment. Of course, Max Verstappen crashed in Q1, and yeah, I think that represents his first Q1 elimination since like a while. Like he never really see Max out in Q1 unless something really big happens. And yeah, it's not a max issue. It's actually due to the engine. There's like a bit of a spike in torque when he tried to downshift, and that's why he spun into the corner in turn one. And of course, like other than that, nothing major happened. Or although Mercedes literally dominated the qualifying session. Although I'm gonna give a shout out to Isaac Hadjar for probably breaking the Red Bull curse. He finished like around P3 in qualifying, which is very impressive, especially for a second driver at Red Bull. So I believe that Red Bull are heading in the right direction. And yeah, and also gonna shout out to Arvid Lindblad for finishing in Q3 in his first qualifying session in F1. Prove a lot of dollars wrong, that is. Now we're gonna go to the race, and of course, even before the race starts, there's another incident. Oscar Piastri spun out from from the from before the start and on his way to the grid, and yeah, like it's really crazy on how what had happened. And yeah, it's the Australian driver's curse in I was in Melbourne. And yeah, I don't think there's gonna be an Australian in the podium anytime soon if this keeps going on. And I mean, you got Bottas, but he's already won a race here, so he doesn't really count as Australian. The race started, and everyone struggled except for Charles Leclerc, who went from fourth to first in just one turn. And yeah, that made my Ferrari copium really high, especially when Lewis started to gain ground as well. And also in the race start, there was a big incident where Lawson stalled at the start, and Colapinto almost crashed into it, but did a very miraculous save. And yeah, that he got the spirit of Maradona and Messi in them in that moment. Although in this case, maybe Carlos Reutemann will be the best applicable person in this sport. After that, it was for the first quarter of the race. It was a big back and forth between Ferrari and Mercedes. Especially, it was really entertaining. Although I would say like they're losing like 40-50 kilometers before the end of each straight, which is dangerous. But we didn't expect this to be entertaining as well. And of course, like the Aston Martins, they already retired in like 20s or 25 laps in. Uh, that's still more than what they expected, but yeah, it wasn't. It's not looking good for them. But I do have to say, they look faster than expected, which means that they did some things right. Even though they were on the softs, they have the potential to be a good midfield outfit. But yeah, then the first VSC came, and yeah, I don't know what happened. Like Mercedes, obviously they double stacked their cars during the virtual safety car, but Ferrari stayed out. I was like, all right, come in, you're free. Ferrari, come in. There's already been you have been given another lap to come in. Why aren't you coming in? And then the VSC was over. They managed to gain like a couple of seconds, and then yeah, miraculously there's like another VSC as well because of Hadjar. Apparently, the curse finally got to him in terms of the engine, which I feel bad because he was having a very solid race up to that point. And yeah, I guess some form of the second driver curse in Red Bull still exists. So yeah, unfortunately, Hadjar and Australia aren't a very good combination so far. But yeah, it also presents another opportunity for Ferrari to pit. Okay, you can pit again. There's another lap. Oh come on! Oh my god! I was like, okay, are they gonna screw up the strategy again? And yeah, they were hoping for like another VSC that would fit into their one-stop window, and it never came. Although, and like yeah, they pitted in like a full race conditions, which means they lost 20 seconds instead of the usual 10 seconds that they could have lost. And yeah, I was expecting okay, you have double the tire age that they're gonna have. Surely you're gonna catch up, but apparently like okay, yeah, Mercedes aren't bluffing. Their power unit is actually really really strong. And yeah, despite the tire advantage that they have, the power unit advantage was very significant to the point there was not even a dent in like the differences as the race went into the closing stage. And yeah, of course, like Max Verstappen went from P20 to P6, although he did say he was having issues with his engine. So and not the engine directly, but of course with the electrical system. And yeah, that just goes to show how good of a driver Max is. And yeah, we have to appreciate what we have while he's still here. And yeah, I would say after that, like there's not a lot of things going on, except for like a couple of battles between Ocon and Gasly, which is very very entertaining. But yeah, and I would say like Aston Martin are like the first team in like decades to retire the car and unretire the car and retire the car again. I think they did that to Alonso twice. And Stroll, I think they retired him, but they sent him out again, and he did finish the race. So there's a bit of progress. And apparently, why they did that is because they don't want to risk compromising the systems and not learn from what they have in Australia. Of course, they're gonna do that again in Shanghai, but they feel like they could resolve the problems around round three. So yeah, hopefully, it goes well for them because they did show potential on how good they can be. And yes, of course, George Russell finished the race as the winner. And yeah, he looks set to become like the favorite of this championship year. And of course, Kimi Antonelli also had a very impressive race as well, finishing second, which means that it's not just the car, but he also improved a lot as a driver as well. I think he went down like P4, P5. After the start, he did stall his engine a bit, or underpowered in this case, but he managed to recover and gain a P2 spot, which is very, very impressive. And yeah, Ferrari, the hope was there, but we of course we have to be screwed by the strategy again. But to be fair, I'm actually kind of happy. Like it's unlike last year where Ferrari was struggled so bad that we're not even in contention to win. Like I feel like even if we did pit on as the same time as like Mercedes in the first two VSCs, we will have probably just lost out on pace. But this is very promising, and of course, from what I've heard, they are gonna bring their inverted front wing to Shanghai. It's not the perfect one, but apparently they improved some parts of it, especially like the execution part, the transition part in their component. So you'll see how big of a difference it makes in Shanghai, especially in a track where there's like two long straights in there as well. And yeah, I think yeah, this year to show that Mercedes are gonna gonna be very competitive this year. They're basically the benchmark of the teams. And yeah, this gives me flashbacks to like the 2014 hybrid era. And it's not that bad because they're not 20 seconds bad. But yeah, it feels like they've managed to get things right and look set to be leading this championship for quite a while. And yeah, but Ferrari isn't that far behind, although I was surprised on how far both Red Bull and McLaren are. And yeah, there's like a big disparity between the top two and the top four as well. So and there's that. And then of course the midfield. I think like I was not surprised that Haas and Audi were the front runners. And this is especially good for Audi because this is their first race, and it's basically like Haas in 2016, but a lot better. Because and like I feel like if Hulkenberg didn't retire during before the race, they would have scored double points. And yeah, like Bortredo is just showed everyone that he's ready for F1. He's already honed his skills from last year. And yeah, he showed that why he was the F2 champion a couple years back. And also Ollie Behrman showed that he is now the main man in Haas, as he is basically best of the rest of the grid. And yeah, like this shows goes to show how good the recent crops of talent that F1 had from F2 graduates. And nothing that shows it more than Arvid Lindblad had a very stellar start to life in F1 with his debut, and scoring points in a very competitive midfield is always going to be very impressive. And of course there are retirements, but you cannot deny the skill he had to make sure he gets those points. And yeah, and I would say Cadillac. Again, I think they did all right. It was their first race. I think they weren't expecting too much, other than like just finishing at least one of their cars, which is always crucial for any beginning team. So yeah, like I would say this is a course to celebrate, but of course now they need to improve the car a lot more because far they were behind like in like some way with the other midfield teams. I mean, I think Aston Martin was even really close to them at one point. And yeah, like now they can just focus on like catching up to at least the the average of the teams and focus their efforts towards next season. And yeah, I think like they did pretty well for as a newcomer. So yeah, for me, my driver of the day is obviously gonna be Arvid Lindblad because he had a very stellar debut, and yeah, this just to show that the Red Bull Academy never fails. It's like that Snoop Dogg meme where this guy never misses. So yeah, never doubt Helmut Marko and the Red Bull Academy, even though Helmut Marko isn't in Red Bull anymore. But that is it. And yeah, if you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and subscribe. leave any suggestions and comments in that you want to say. And yeah, give me like your driver of the day or what your opinions on certain matters, and I'll be sure to respond them as quick as I can. But anyway, see you guys next time, and goodbye.